to be noting, especially when we're using the expressway as it is. And this is Wilson Tikwa, who is the Assistant Director, Road Safety, Kenya Urban Roads Authority. So we'll leave you with the conversation which is ongoing there on Spice FM. Thank you for your valued company. My name is Dubala now.
And we're joined by Wilson Tikwa. He's an Assistant Director from the Kenya Urban Roads Authority in charge of road safety. Wilson, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much.
This is the hot seat, the one that you're occupying. But we want you to feel comfortable, be easy, because we are friendly people, even when we ask the most difficult questions. Let's start with the Kenya Urban Roads Authority. You know, we talk about it very many times here, but there are people who do not understand the structure of our road sector. The Kenya Urban Roads Authority, what exactly is your mandate? What do you do?
Back in 2007, an act of parliament was actually enacted to create the three roads authorities. That is Kenya National Highways, Kenya Rural Roads Authority, and Kenya Urban Roads Authority. And KURA, or Kenya Urban Roads Authority, was actually given the mandate to manage all national urban trunk roads, basically the roads around urban areas or mainly the built-up area in this country. Initially, it used to be municipalities, but now with the onset of the county government system, we are now actually spread all over each and every county headquarter. So we have 10 regions that actually manage the entire country. That we actually use as offices to actually perform and execute our mandate.
So when you say urban, are we talking about towns or cities? Like we know KURA is in Nairobi, KURA is in Mombasa. Is KURA in Isiolo? Is KURA in Marsabit?
When you talk about urban areas, it is not only cities and major towns. Any upcoming town is actually an urban center. We are everywhere in this country, and that's why I said we are in every county headquarter. We were the first to build a tarmac road in Lamu County since this country was actually known. So basically we've spread all over the country, not only in these major cities as the perception is.
So you talked about national urban trunk roads, that being the purview of KURA, right? Could you tell us exactly what those are? Which roads specific? So if I'm in Nairobi, for example, how do I know then which network is a national urban trunk road, for example? And then should I be making demands on you for my estate road, which is in a shambles? Or what exactly are we talking about here?
Back then, a classification was done of the whole road network in Kenya. And from that classification, therefore, it was decided which kind of roads, like now for Kenya is Class A, Class B, and so on. And then now you have the UB Urban Road Network was now designated to KURA. And lower than that now, you go to the county roads. And even lower than that, you now have forest roads. You even have roads under KWS. So the urban road network is actually a classification that you actually need to get that classification system for you to be able to know which road belongs to who. Yes.
Okay.
The roads inside the estate, are those under KURA?
Some and some not.
The ones that are not, who are they under in the city of Nairobi?
Yeah, they're under the county government.
Nairobi is not rural, so it can't be under Kenya Rural Roads Authority.
You will be surprised that there are still roads under Kenya Rural Roads Authority in Nairobi. For example, Gataka Road was done by Kera, and that is the main link road that joins Nairobi to Ongata Rongai. So, and that's still within the urban area. So all these roads actually, each of them has been designated to a specific authority.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you talk about a road, we are talking about everything about the road. So there's the motorable space on the road. There's the drainage on that road. There's the pedestrian walkways on the road, the cyclable areas on the road, places for mkokoteni pushers to use, and footbridges as well, right? It's everything. So when you're designing or when you're managing a road, do you put all this into consideration, or is there a requirement that you must demonstrate how all road users are going to benefit from this space that's been designated as a road?
At Kenya Urban Roads Authority, we deal mainly with the urban environment. And when you talk about the urban environment, you actually have to put in consideration each and every person or anything moving on that particular corridor. Whether it is a 60-meter corridor, 80-meter corridor, 30-meter corridor, you must actually provide all that within that very space, because at the end of the day, you need to move pedestrians, you need to move motorized traffic, you need to move someone pulling a cart, you need actually to have provisions for each and every kind of mobility on that particular road. So in our design stages, therefore, as Kenya Urban Roads Authority, being an urban space, we actually take in consideration all those road users, and therefore we must actually include it right from the start from our own designs.
You know, every time one looks at a road, at least as a layman, let me say, every time I look at a road, I see a passageway that has been designed for me to use for traveling. But then there's always the question of, what are the thought processes that go into designing a road, or for that matter, designing an expressway? What does one put in place, and how does the thinking go?
Let's use an example. Outer Ring Road.
Basically, as you design a road, there is what comes first is actually what is that road meant to serve. Is it a high-speed road? Is it supposed to move traffic away or in? Is it a service road? Is it maybe a road serving a port, for example? Therefore, you expect a lot of slow-moving traffic. So that is the thought process. Is it a road that serves a market? If it is a road serving a market, of course, you know that a lot of the road users will be pedestrians. So that is the thought process. Now, as you said, the expressway, for example, is supposed to move traffic as fast as possible from one point to another. But when you talk about Outer Ring actually was a link road. It was supposed to link Thika Road and the North Airport Road. It was supposed to actually kind of divert most of the traffic from the main city, because that time we didn't have the expressway. So we wanted to find a way that traffic can actually go around the city and probably join Thika Road and move forward north. But as you know, again, Outer Ring is an interesting one, because it is actually an interface between a very highly populated residential area and a highly populated industrial area. And therefore, that movement actually creates a lot of conflict between pedestrianized traffic and motorized traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Those two elements, though, were known before the construction and the design of the road, isn't it? That you knew essentially that there was going to be a link between a highly popularized area in terms of residents and then an industrial area. So should those things not be taken into consideration at the design stage? Because you still end up having the same problem that this road was supposed to bring to an end.
Basically, that should have been the basic principle. But as it is not normally what happens practically. Because when Outer Ring was being developed back in 2014, the population in Umoja area and all the suburbs around it is not what it is today. What normally we notice is that anytime a new road is developed, we only have the control of the corridor, but we don't have the control of what happens in the land use characteristics surrounding that road. So basically, because you find that development control is also another issue. So if, for example, the land was freehold, then after a road comes in now, it becomes commercialized. And therefore, that actually brings in a lot of building, a lot of settlement, a lot of population, and it actually spirals beyond what actually we designed for. That's exactly what happened in the Eastern Bypass. The Eastern Bypass, Utawala used to be very smooth between City Cabanas and Ruiru. But a few years later, the land use characteristics changed tremendously. And therefore, now it is no longer a bypass. That is, now we had to dual it to try and make it actually a bypass as it were.
But then these are things that you know.
Yes.
These are characteristics of Kenya that you live in Kenya. So all of you engineers, designers, road safety experts and you know what roads are doing to this country in terms of development. So when you're designing a new road, when you're designing a new, let's say, bypass somewhere, land use is going to change, population is going to move, and all these things are going to happen. And then you've got to start thinking, how is this road likely to look like in the next 10, 15 years? Isn't that what you put into consideration as you're doing